Happy Monday, everyone. Welcome into Attacking Third, presented by CarMax, the way car buying should be. Alongside Darian Jenkins and Christine Cupo, I'm Lisa Carlin. We have some Attacking Third themed props and accessories with us at the desk today. Shout out to Cadix, Kayla Sharples, the defender from Kansas City. We had her on the show last week. She has partnered with Cadix, the shoe company, to create a shoe to help prevent injuries in women's cleats. So the studs move a little bit. It's pretty cool. And they sent us a pair that we are showing off on studio today. These are pretty awesome.
These are pretty cool, yeah. I mean,
I love the color too.
They're light. They're breathable. They look like they have a good foot feel. I don't know, because I have a huge foot, so there's no way they're going to fit in here. But no, the top sock lining, I feel like that's a good grippy. You never want to feel like your heel is lifting.
Well, these are the Kayla shoe. That's what they call them. Kayla Sharples involved in all of the design features in this cleat, which is pretty cool to think about. They send them to her. She decides if she likes the sock feature, if the laces are too long.
Love a sock feature.
Everything.
I love the color.
The color is really cool.
Were you guys, are you like a flashy color player, or do you rock the white or black?
Ostentatious, ridiculous. Like I had
surprise
boots
me
at
at
one
all.
point that were like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle colored, like all the colors. I always liked bright, like neon yellow though. Like the highlighter yellow was my move.
Okay.
No, black.
Yeah, you're a defender.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wasn't flashy. I wasn't doing anything
I feel like
crazy.
defenders are always like, no, let me be serious.
Yeah.
I can't, I don't want more attention.
What about you?
Oh, whatever I was sent. I don't know. I didn't really care. I did like black cleats. I do.
On par with Darian Jenkins. Whatever.
Yeah, but black, honestly,
I just didn't like black cleats.
I feel like my feet would get too hot. Like sunny days, like especially real hot, like the heat just lifts straight through the boots. I mean, hey, if you want to run through hell, which I imagine is what defending is like.
Pretty much. As long as I'm not chasing down Barbara Banda, I'm good. I am good. Those look pretty breathable though, and they're light color. I don't know. I'm all about it.
Attacking third colored, so.
Thanks. I like it. Well, this weekend we got to see some fun cleats, not only playing on the pitch, but celebrating, because Orlando Pride lifted their first ever trophy in club history, winning the NWSL Shield. They did it in splashy fashion, a 2-0 win over Washington Spirit, and Orlando remain unbeaten on the season, 17 wins and 24 straight matches that date back to 2023. With 3 games remaining, the players got to celebrate in a rainy Inter & Co Stadium on Sunday night. Darian, this is so deserved for this Orlando team.
I can't think of a better team that's ever played in the NWSL. This team has gone through so much up and down since their inception into the league, and to see this all come together for the players, my Pride girlies, and Seb Hines and Giles Barnes, I think we have to give them a lot of credit, along with Haley Carter. But it's been a lot of work behind the scenes, and for it to all come together in such a historic way, where they're breaking every single record in the NWSL and continue to be fun to watch, continue to be unstoppable, they absolutely deserve this.
Yeah, NWSL records, but like club records, individual records. Seb Hines, the first black coach to get this done. It's insane what they've managed to do. And when I think about more comprehensively Orlando Pride as an organization, everything from their kit launch, seating, everything was so right this season that it just seems like it's the perfect storm. They managed to catch this lightning in a bottle. They seem unstoppable. I haven't been this excited about a team that I wasn't like already supporting in a long time. It's just the vibe, the playing, the transfers that they had, the scouting. They nailed it on every single front.
There's a lot of aspects of this club and this season that we're going to talk about, but looking specifically at this match, it was the second half for Orlando, a 56th minute penalty from Marta, and then Adriana forcing an own goal in the 73rd minute. The 2 goals for Orlando came in the second half. It was a surge, Darian, after the break at 45 minutes. What changed for the Pride?
They just happened to score. I think it was coming the entire match. In the first half, Banda had, 4 breakaways where she was just tipped away or just pulled down. There wasn't penalties, but I thought she's going to get one because she's putting everybody on their heels on the Spirit. And for that to come from Marta to get the game-winning goal is absolutely legendary. And I think this just goes to show, even Adriana's goal was brilliant too. Crazy deflection. That sucks for McKeown.
Poor McKeown, yeah.
Goal's a goal. But this team is so dynamic. Lisa and I were on Morning Footy talking about it, but they don't win in just one way. I think I can make the argument with the courage in 2018 when we won, it was very singular. It's very transitional. It was very send Lynn and Jess forward, and then everybody tried to crash into the box. And this team, there's not one player you pick out that's the only one to change the game. They have so many different ways and styles of play they can come at you. And that's why this is such a historic thing that we're seeing and why no team's been able to stop them.
Meanwhile, on the other side for Washington Spirit, they were without huge names in this match, Christine. Rodman, Sarr, they're still unavailable. Of course, Kerr-Bethune on the SEI, but also without Casey Kruger in this match. Lacey Santos, there is just so much depth that was unavailable for Washington. How much of a factor did that play for Jonah Heraldez?
Oh, I think it's massive. We've seen them overcome this once before, but not over Orlando. Orlando can hurt you in so many ways, and they're so dominant. They control the play, and they dictate the tempo. You saw Washington get a lot more scrappier this game. Lots of fouls, some uncalled, that just went down. And then, of course, culminating in Andy Sullivan going down, which I hope that she's quite okay, but it does not look good. I haven't heard anything since post-match. But Washington Spirit have a pretty massive task at hand to kind of rebuild as they head into playoffs. Without all of that firepower and barring a miracle for Andy Sullivan, like they're going to be on the back heel for sure, trying to come back. Darian?
Kawasi, I'll go. Kawasi for me was the only real bright spot for the Spirit. Orlando can shut that down. They can double down on Kawasi. I don't think Orlando respected, obviously, Spirit's offense, but they didn't have to change their game in any way to adapt to them. I think if they had all of those players in, it may have been different. I think Orlando maybe would have been much more defensive, set up a little bit lower. But because they didn't have to, Orlando dominated the game from the jump.
Yeah, Marta,
go ahead. I think also just Washington Spirit creating errors for themselves. Even the Banda penalty that was ended up called, it's like you gave up.
The penalty was real rough. Boutel thought Banda was offside. She clearly wasn't. There was yards of space between her and Banda, and then Mickey Owen has to make a last-ditch tackle just to try to prevent something from happening, and the penalty is drawn, and that's almost what felt like was the breakthrough for Orlando in that moment.
For me, that was a pivotal point.
Breaking for Washington at that point because they had been holding on for so long and getting into some tough tackles and drawing hard fouls, but nothing too treacherous coming from it.
We see Orlando weather teams down. They're going to keep going at you. We'll keep sending Banda along because homegirl doesn't get tired. You're going to get tired. I think that's why Boutel put her hand up. They'd been chasing Banda like that so many times, and Banda's not even at full speed. The defense was at full speed, and then we see mistakes like the penalty, like the hand being raised for offside, but Orlando can just wear you out.
Yeah. They have too many players that it's like, okay, push them left. Okay, I can go left. Push them right. Okay, I can go right. There's no real negating them, and then you end up just it's exhausting yourself, really?
Well, they did it in the end. Orlando Pride lift the NWSL shield, and Marta, captain, Brazilian legend, said that, quote, "I've waited so long for this moment, and so long she's waited. It is so well deserved." And when you think about just 1 year ago, this Orlando Pride team, 10 wins, 31 points through 22 games, and they missed out on the postseason just barely because of all the draws they accumulated. Now in 2024, 17 wins, 23 games undefeated, and 57 points on the season. All with 3 games still remaining in the NWSL. With the same coach, Darian, the same core players, essentially. What's different about this 2024 Orlando group?
They have that belief that no one can stop them. I watched the post-game press conference with Kylie Strom and Marta, and they were just so complimentary of this team and just so had this quiet, very calm confidence about their play. And even when they said, when we've gone down in games against Kansas City, we knew we were going to come back. When we went down a player, we knew we were going to come back. It didn't matter. They've had that faith and belief in themselves, and you've seen it, which is why they never have looked nervous, not one time this year. I can't think of a game where I've watched them and been like, oh, they're a little bit out of sorts. Somebody's having an off game. You literally cannot tell.
And it's not a cocky confidence that this Orlando size
very
has.
Quiet.
It's really, it's a little swaggy. It's a little under the radar in their moments when they maybe could get a little bit shaken, knowing that every single team is gunning for them and giving them their exact best. And Orlando never looks shaken. And there's an element of it that must stem from the top down. Of course, all glory goes to the players day in and day out. But when you hire a GM in Haley Carter, that is a former player at the start of the 2023 season, who then brings in Seb Hines and believes in his formation of this team and his vision that he sees. How much credit, Christine, do you have to really give back to Carter and Seb Hines?
Oh, a ton to both of them, because to commit to building something, which they have, right, requires a certain risk appetite, patience, and then obviously just like the football IQ to know, okay, I have faith in you that you can get it done, because it's buying into the potential, not necessarily the finished product, which is a lot easier, right? And you always say, oh, you can't judge a manager by their past, but we do it all the time. That's how we hire everyone. When you have someone younger like Seb Hines coming in and trusting him to put together a squad and then get them to buy into, you know, his style, how you should play, how they would play, and do it in only 2 years. It's remarkable.
It's a quick turnaround.
It's unheard of.
Is this the best NWSL team we've ever seen?
Yes.
Yeah.
Better than that 2018-2019 NWSL North Carolina Courage team?
Sorry, yes.
Yeah.
I think they're much more dynamic. There's more layers to this team than that team had.
Yeah, I like it. It's so fun to watch this Orlando side. Congratulations. They picked up a 2-0 win over Washington. As we take a look at some of the other results, Houston fall 2-0 to the Red Stars, so the Dash are eliminated. Angel City, a 1-0 win over Seattle. North Carolina, their 2-1 win over San Diego clinches a playoff spot for the Courage. Gotham dominating over Bay 5-1, and Louisville falling 2-0 to Kansas City. Temwa Shawinga tying the single season goal record, netting her 18th of the year. As we take a look at the top half of the table, with North Carolina getting their win, they have also clinched a playoff spot. So 5 of the 8 postseason spots already clinched, taken to the top 5 teams right now. And Houston, the only team right now that is currently eliminated. Meanwhile, Utah Royals, guys, they're climbing up the table.
Look at them at number 12.
Utah got a 2-1 win over Portland
12.
this weekend. Let's go. That is awesome to see. Plenty more to come in the next 3 match days in the NWSL. But our own Christine Cupo spoke with Bay FC defender Jen Beattie last week. Her interview next.
One of the 2 newest expansion sides, Bay FC, has signed some big players. Bay added former Scottish international Jen Beattie from Arsenal.
Keep the momentum going here as Wolfsburg have a player. Oh, down, but Beattie's there! Jen Beattie!
I think Jen Beattie is really interesting because 15 years as an international, like a few years at Arsenal, this is a player with the experience to nurture someone next to her.
I'm really excited to see what she can do on U.S. soil now. Welcome back into Attacking Third. I am ecstatic to say that I have Arsenal forever, current Bay FC defender Jen Beattie with me here in the studio today. Welcome, Jen.
Well, welcome. Thank you for having me.
I hear that you had some time with the Morning Footy crew. How did that go?
I did. I had a lot of fun. They're an awesome team to be a part of.
So you've taken 1 or 2 of their jobs?
Ooh, just one. If they'll have me.
Perfect. I have to ask you from the jump, obviously, huge difference from North London to the Bay. How have you acclimated, both just on field and also just, have you found a home spot? Do you have a coffee shop? What's going on in the Bay?
Funny you ask coffee shop. I think Blue Bottle is my 3rd home at the minute, shall we say. Between London, the Bay and Blue Bottle, they're my 3 homes. But no, it's amazing. What a place to live. To move from London to California under the sunshine, it's awesome.
Do you have a go-to coffee order?
At the minute, it's iced Americano with oat milk.
Okay, we need to get Blue Bottle to just like rename it the Beattie, just at all of their Bay locations.
I appreciate that.
Perfect. Well, we'll get the sponsorship together. It's fine. And want to talk a little bit more about what's been going on field. You obviously took the chance to come to an expansion side, Bay building out. So that gives you a massive foundational place, especially since you are such a veteran player. Albertine Montoya, great coach, has a philosophy of playing beautiful football, which is a little bit different from the styles that you see more often in NWSL. How does that match up with sort of your experience abroad, coming here, and how has that sort of been your extra strength in sort of helping younger players along?
Yeah, I think, well, first and foremost, I think that was probably the biggest pull for me to sign for the Bay. I think the NWSL was always an incredibly attractive league that I always had an eye on to come out and play eventually. But with calls with Albertine and the rest of the staff at that time, the style of play was the sell. And I think that's become so apparent in recent games. And of course, we've needed the time to gel and really get to know each other on and off the pitch. But things seem to be clicking at the right time. And we've had a number of wins under our belt and really pushing for that playoff spot.
Having the opportunity to talk to Albertine on coaches' calls, I can totally understand how that's a big sell. He's just a lovely coach.
Oh, yeah.
That aside, I know you obviously have some former teammates that are already in the league. Rafaele, Claire Emsley from Scotland, and then also Tobin. Did you manage to get any advice out of them ahead of your deep dive into NWSL?
Probably Claire Emsley, first and foremost. She was a Scotland national teammate for such a long period of time. Was lucky enough to go to her wedding last Christmas break, and she loves it out here. She's a huge fan of the league, lives in LA, loves it out there. So yeah, of course, I tried to pick as many brains as possible, get as much advice for people who've played across different teams, but they all spoke so highly of it and really encouraged me to do so. Steph Catley was another one at Arsenal that had played on a number of teams out here, and she was one of the first players I told the news at Arsenal before I was leaving, and she was ecstatic for me. She was so happy.
We need to cut Catley a check. Thank you, Steph. I do want to move on to sort of the charity, not the charity work, but your philanthropic work, especially around breast cancer. I think that it's touched a lot more people than people anticipate. I had a scare when I was much younger too, and the scare alone will shock you to the core. And I think you had expressed previously that your support system was one of the greatest assets that you had to help you through. How have you tried to pay it forward?
Yeah, I can't emphasize that enough. I got diagnosed in October 2020 in the middle of COVID, and having my teammates and staff there through absolutely everything when I was away from family, I was away from friends. They were the best thing that could have happened to me at that time. But I think off the back of that, it's just about raising as much awareness as possible and trying to normalise the conversation around cancer, because I think that's important. We're great at talking about the easy things in life, but the difficult things not so much. So that was kind of raise awareness, early detection saves lives, and try and normalise a really difficult conversation. Yeah,
I think those are really, really good conversations to have. How did Pink Ribbon Good enter the conversation for you as you came stateside?
Yeah, so when I was in London with Arsenal, that's where I started the charity work, but I basically didn't want that to end when I signed for BFC. It became a big part of my life and a great way to connect with the community and to continue that job of raising as much awareness as possible. And staff at BFC were incredible, to be honest. They were the ones that put me in contact with Pink Ribbon Good, and we started that relationship at the start of the season, which I was just so happy about. And to continue that work out here, met some incredible people, and they're such an amazing charity. They focus on transport for patients going through treatment, providing healthy meals, and that was the one thing that I was given to as an athlete at Arsenal. So for people going through it that didn't have that just seemed really special and something that I wanted to get to work with.
Yeah, that shows a lot of heart in a very difficult time too. You are obviously nominated for the Lauren Holiday Award, which is massive, which be sure to get out there and vote for Jen Beattie. It's now in the fans' hands. Help support Pink Ribbon Good as she goes forward. I do want to turn the conversation a little bit to soccer football culture here. Okay. What are some of the things that you've noticed differently about sort of the fan culture and just how Americans receive the game as someone who's played the majority of her career abroad? Yeah,
to be honest, that's been one of my favourite things. I will say that for soccer, even though it's not the biggest sport here because you guys have so many popular sports, my favourite thing about here is the whole event that is around the game. It's not just about the soccer, right? When you go to a game in Europe, it's quite serious and it's very much the attention's on it, which has its pros and cons. But here it's the fireworks, it's the music, it's the DJ, it's everyone having the best time. The tailgating was such a, not a normal thing for me, which I still haven't done yet. But that for me is seeing the excitement and the culture. And aside from that, even within the Bay Area alone, to be a part of the first pro team in the area that I think has been craving it for such a long time, with Santa Clara, Stanford being huge part of the culture of college culture over there. So to be a part of the first pro team, it's just felt so special. And the way that the fans have got behind it has really been awesome.
So now I have to ask, because you haven't scored very many goals. They've been impactful goals.
Yeah.
If you could, we're going to do a little hybrid, right? We're going to bring some football into our soccer.
Okay.
If you could have any song sung for you, that will be essentially the Jen Beattie song.
Wow.
What song would you pick?
Wow. Any song, like a celebration
whatever,
song?
Yep, whatever you want.
No, you've put me on the spot.
I
again.
know. Do, 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 do.
Have you got an idea? What would be yours? I'll throw it back.
Ooh.
I need some thinking time, so I'm going to throw it back.
Well, I don't want to go old-timey, so I like hip-hop. I think you're
nice.
more, you're a country girl, pop?
I like hip hop. I like 2000s hip hop.
2000s
yeah,
hip-hop?
like 50 Cent, like that kind of stuff.
Okay.
If I can, 50 Cent. I don't know why I've thought about that right now.
Can we go, I know you're a believer, right? Can we go, Beattie,
I do, right.
Beattie, Beattie, oh. No?
There you go. Okay.
I mean, I don't want to,
I'll
that's
take
just
the
an
inspo
entrant.
from you. Not
Okay.
where we've gone for. We have to go with that now.
Perfect. I'm like, listen, Bay, you're going to have to do some heavy lifting. Maybe get some harmonies going. I don't know. And I'm going to ask you another musical song.
Okay.
We have an Attacking Third playlist that we ask guests to contribute to.
Okay.
What song do you want us to add to our playlist?
Luther Vandross, Never Too Much.
Oh my goodness. Okay, well now we've got some more smoothness in there.
Just old school there.
I like it. I like it a lot.
I say that's my karaoke song, but I never really do karaoke. But
okay,
that is my
so
karaoke
now
song.
I know I need to get you tailgating. I'm inserting myself into these activities.
Okay.
Tailgating and karaoke.
Great.
We're going to get this done.
Okay.
I have one more hard ask of you.
Okay.
And that's going to be your best 11 of your teammates, current and former.
Oh my word. Right, best 11.
Uh-huh.
Karen Bardsley in goal.
Okay.
I'd go right back Lucy Bronze. Centre back with Leah Williamson. I'd put myself in.
Okay, fair.
Left back Steph Catley. Number 6, Kira Walsh. Number 10, Kim Little. The other 10, I'd go Jill Scott for a bit of fight.
Yeah?
Yeah, a bit of fight
Oh
in
yeah,
there.
Jill will knuckle up.
Kind of gutted Caroline Weir's not in there. Scottish internationalist, unbelievable player, probably the most underrated in Europe actually. Currently at Real Madrid. My wingers would be Lauren Hemp.
Okay.
My number 9. Who would I go number 9? You know what? I'd probably go Ellen White.
Ellen White?
Yeah.
Okay.
My right winger would be Beth Mead. For
Beth
sure.
Mead.
Yeah.
I got
you
to
put
hang
me on
out
the
with
spot
Beth
again
over
there,
the summer
but-
with puppies, so I would put her in nevertheless. That is a very electric starting 11. I mean, I'd fear them.
Yeah. I wouldn't want to play against them.
Okay, we're going to do, I lied. I have one more game for you, and it's going to be this or that, so it's much easier. Okay. So it's going to be the U.S. versus England edition, this or that. Soccer or football?
Football.
Bay Area or North London?
Ooh. North London.
Okay. Tea or coffee?
Controversial. Coffee.
Harry Styles or Justin Bieber?
Biebs.
Ooh.
Justin Bieber.
Kelly Smith or Brandi Chastain?
As footballers, ooh. Brandi Chastain.
Okay. Sipping wine in California or beer at your favorite pub?
Sipping wine in California all
You're
day.
a Cali girl already.
Napa Valley specifically.
Fish and chips or chicken fingers and fries?
I'm vegan.
Okay,
Neither.
so vegan fish and chips or vegan chicken tenders and fries?
Ooh, vegan chicken tenders and fries.
That's a good pick.
Yeah.
They're my pick too.
Okay.
Thank you so much for joining us, Jen. This has
Appreciate it.
been an absolute blast. Please come back soon, but I will link up for the tailgate.
Sounds good.
Stay tuned for more Attacking Third up next.
everyone, welcome back to Attacking Third, presented by CarMax, the way car buying should be. We are pleased to welcome in Sandra Herrera, the fourth member of our team. Sandra, how's it going?
Oh, it's going. Happy to be here. Always thrilled to join my girl gang. How's it going over there in studio?
Oh, it's good, Sandra.
Cold.
It's a little
It's really cold.
We miss you.
Keep it real. Yeah. I do remember that being in there. It is chilly in there.
Sandra, we brought you in for this segment because we are going to play a game of Make Your Case. You are our judge, our Oz in the wall, and you get to preside over us. And the topic today is for U.S. Women's National Team defenders and goalkeepers, a player from each position that we would like to see get a call-up, maybe feature in the next camp, or just get time with the team in training. So this is going to be a good one. We're going to start with the goalkeepers. I'm going to start, I believe.
Go on, Carlin.
Yes, I am. All right, Sandra. We have excellent depth at the goalkeeper position, and there are a lot of veterans. Alyssa Nair has done a tremendous job, and she is the number one. And I hate to talk about players' ages, but she is 36. So we have to start looking at the next wave of goalkeepers to come in and solidify themselves as the number one and number two between the sticks. Tegan Y is hands down the best choice for this role. She is 20 years old. She's coming fresh off the U.S. Youth U20 Women's World Cup, where she played every single minute of every single match and helped the U.S. U20s win bronze. They came in third ultimately. Their best finish since 2012. We have to get some young blood in there, and I'm going to go with Tegan Y. All right, Darian.
That's a good shout.
Thank you.
That is a good shout. Yeah, Lisa, come on with the stats. Shoot. I am going to go.
I was just going to use finger puppets. I don't know.
Okay, Sandra, I am going with Mandy Hott, former Gotham goalkeeper, now with the Utah Royals. She has 76 saves on the year, but it's not only her shot-stopping ability. I think we've seen an evolution in her game, especially this year, where she's able to play out of the back so much more. She's gotten exponentially better with her feet. Her service is great. She's able to break lines with her passes, which with the Emma Hayes era we are in, the U.S. national team needs a goalkeeper like that is very clean on the ball, that has that vision, that has that technicality. So she's my goalkeeper.
I like it.
Is that my turn?
This
I'm
is
up
your
on
turn.
deck? Okay.
What you got for me, Cupo?
I forgot my PowerPoint, but you're going to have to use the jazz hands here. No, I'm going Fallon Tullis-Joyce. She went from Rem to OL Reign, and now she has arrived safely at Man United, where she has the big task of replacing the Mary Earps. She's got a few clean sheets under her belt already there. I think that she has enough experience, but still enough youth on her side to sort of inject her into the squad. And I think that this will be a proving ground for her. She'll only get better this season. So I think that's a good shout if we need to start knocking on some goalkeeper doors.
All right, Sandra.
I hear you. I like all of these. I think these are all good goalkeepers. I think Hott has been tested in Utah, and maybe that's you could look at that compliment in different ways, right? She's been pelted a little bit as they've kind of navigated some things. But I am in agreement with Lisa. Shockingly, I hate to start it this way.
No!
They got to get somebody young and up and
go.
coming. I got to go Tegan Y.
I feel like the chips are always stacked
Absolutely.
not in our favor.
Absolutely. Out of California, she's playing there, Sandra, and she is electric. She's in season right now. You can watch her, NCAA.
There wasn't a wrong answer, but this was
But
great.
the right one was Tegan Y.
I just don't want Lisa to win.
Absolutely. I mean, she's out of University of California, and she brings that youthful energy. Sandra gets it. Okay, we are doing defenders now. Darian, up first, my friend.
This may be a bit of a hot take, but I think Yasmin Ryan. I know she's a midfielder forward on Gotham. I know she's a midfielder forward on Gotham. But this is a player that's also filled in at outside back for Gotham, and she's been incredible. You see her on the front line in the midfield. She's always tracking back. She's actually a great 1v1 defender. And she has the ability to get forward. She has brilliant service in the box. She's also great 1v1. She can rotate positions, which we've seen with the U.S. Women's National Team. They do a lot. She's incredibly versatile. And I think in that right back position, we saw a player like Midge Purce get a lot of starts there last year before she got injured. Yasmin Ryan is also a very similar player who has just hit a totally new level this season. So that is my pick for a defender.
I know
I
that
love
the
a
camera was
bold
on Darian the whole time, but Sandra's face was
Oh my God.
hilarious.
Let me tell you something. I know my face card doesn't lie. I love a bold pick, though. This is a strong start. Who else has got defenders for me?
All right, ladies, go on, go next.
Hilarious. Okay, I'm up next. I am going out of North Carolina, defender Malia Berkeley, who has solidified herself as a stalwart in the back line. And she's had to do a lot of different roles because of how possession-oriented North Carolina is. That's exactly how Emma Hayes wants to play, building out of the back, having center back defenders who can play line-breaking balls, who can look to get on the end of things on set pieces. But it's so much of what Malia Berkeley does off the ball, her defending 1v1, her covering of her teammates around her. And when you think about how North Carolina plays, they send their outside backs way high. So Berkeley is pretty much left alone with one or two other defenders, and she has to manage the game in those moments. And she never looks flustered. She always looks like she's ready to rock and roll. And Malia Berkeley is a younger player that can come into this U.S. squad and add some depth at center back positions where we need depth. Players that could maybe go down before we know it, and Berkeley could step in and slide right into that role.
Okay, I've dug deep for this one.
All right.
So
Hit me, Cupo. Let's go.
I'm going to go with first round 2024 draft pick, defender out of San Diego Wave, Kennedy Wesley. We have not seen a whole lot of her, but she has shown a maturity that is certainly years beyond her actual age. She's filled in gaps in that back line for San Diego Wave. Even when Gurmo is out injured, she showed hyper utility. I think she's very young and very moldable, very coachable. And so I think that she should get a shout.
Oh, I like these. I mean, if I had to rank them for outside of the box thinking, I'd go Darian number one for sure. I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility. You planted a seed in my mind now. Now I'm going to be fixated on the potential of Yasmin Ryan as an outside back. But I'm going to tip the scales to Cupo in this one. I'm a big fan of Malia Berkeley, but I think that's a safe and smart pick. But I'm in agreement that we got to get some youth in this next camp, at the very least, looking ahead to those future camps that Emma Hayes keeps talking about. So I like Cupo's pick for sure.
This is crazy. I didn't get one.
Darian's pouting.
Oh, there's still time. There's still time, Darian. You haven't let me
Sandra,
down.
I thought, based on your reactions, I thought we were on the same page. I thought we were together.
Look, you like I said, you broke my brain a little bit, so I'm very eager to hear what you might have for midfielders or forwards. Let's see what you got.
I pulled out the razzle dazzle. That's all.
Yeah, Darian, you know when you're in first grade or kindergarten and you do the assignment wrong and the teacher's like, you were the most creative. That's what Sandra gave you. She said you're the most creative.
I'll take most creative and thinking out of the box.
I value that. Though.
This is on par with the time we all went rogue and Sandra said we were all wrong.
I love all of us equally. Sandra, that was pretty fun. Do you have any shouts for goalkeeper or defender? Anyone we missed that we should have maybe given a shout to?
You know what? I think we've been noting Katie Lunn a long time with Racing Louisville. Maybe she's someone that gets in the mix for goalkeeper. But when I wrote my own piece up for .com, I had a lot of these names on there. But now I'm wondering if I did Yasmin Ryan a disservice by not including her in the defender core. So shout out to Darian for thinking far ahead.
Sandra, my current hill that I would like to just nominate myself, going rogue here yet again. Okay, player who is in the mix but not in the mix that should get minutes. Emily Sams.
Oh, yeah, naturally. Of course. For sure. This is a player that is already on the radar, right?
Right.
We're not
Toss her a minute. Let her sniff a minute.
Yeah. So she's someone who's not in the pool. She's firmly there. Like, she straight up went to the Olympics. So hopefully she gets some time over the course of these October friendlies.
I've attended Olympics too. Granted, I don't have a medal. I would like to see her play. Feet on pitch.
That would be fun. I'd like to see Emily Sams get time too. Significant time. See what she can do. Don't go anywhere, guys. Sandra is sticking with us, and we are celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month next. Welcome back to Attacking Third. Sandra is here with us to continue our celebration of Hispanic Heritage Month. Sandra, I want to talk about big picture, the Mexican women's national team, because this is a side that has struggled in recent history. They didn't qualify for the 2023 Women's World Cup. They missed out on the Olympics as well. They brought in some new pieces, including head coach Pedro Lopez, who then went on to beat the U.S. in the CONCACAF W Gold Cup. But over the last several months, how is the Mexican women's national team looking right now?
Honestly, I gotta say, a little bit different from their 2023 to 2024. I mean, we saw this program kind of get this kind of wave of rejuvenation with Pedro Lopez, and they went undefeated during their entire 2023. They had an incredible Gold Cup, which I know all of us remember we were covering, where they had that really big win against the United States, and then unfortunately fell flat in the knockout rounds, suffered a 3-0 loss to Brazil, and since then they haven't had a win since March. So there's a little bit of a mixed reaction, I think, to this Mexico side in terms of what they've been doing in 2024. Those recent games in the summer, in June, a 1-1 draw against Canada, a 1-0 loss against the United States. You could see that the team identity is there. They want to be effective in their counter-pressing moments, and they want to be a Mexico side that brings the game to the opposition. Before, maybe in prior iterations of this team where maybe they sat back in mid to low blocks, they want to get out there and make teams play against them. So I think they need to try to maybe hopefully get some more games under their belt in 2024 and not just get that experience, but really try to pick up a win.
Sandra, sticking with La Tri, their history, what are some standout moments that we should all know?
I think there's a ton, right? I think when we take a look at women's soccer as a whole, there's so much that's left where we're left wondering about the beginnings of things. We know for so much of the beginning of women's soccer that it was really outlawed in a lot of different places across the globe. And for that reason, we try to celebrate women's soccer and its current iterations so much because it took so long for so many national teams to get where they are. And I think that includes Mexico as well. They have really early beginnings with a Mexican women's national team in 1963, but there was no official recognition until the 90s from FIFA. So you have this weird blocks of decades building up to the 90s for not just Mexico, but other Latin American countries. It was Costa Rica and Argentina who had bumps in interest in their nations, and Costa Rica went on a little bit of an exhibition tour in Mexico, and they saw that, hey, we needed to make a Mexican national team to go up against this Costa Rican side who was touring in our country. And that ultimately led to the foundations of an early team. So we have to shout out Alicia Vargas, who was referred to as La Pele during the 70s, someone who was massive figure within women's Mexican soccer. And La Pele is obviously a nod to Pele because that is how good she was in the eyes of so many others. So there was a lot of just kind of humble beginnings for Mexican women's soccer. I think now they're starting to get eyeballs on some of these very historic moments during that time. There's a lot of folks who are recognizing that unofficial record for the largest ever attended match in Mexico. It was one of those unrecognized sort of World Cups, and so many people were in attendance to watch that. So while it's a record that exists, it's not an official one. So it's kind of an interesting mix of where Mexico has been and kind of where they're going now.
Talking about the national team, it's fascinating just hearing the history from you and seeing how far things have come, but still there's so much potential. But can you take a step back and tell us about the foundation of the Liga MX Femenil?
Yeah, for sure. I think that's another part of the history where you kind of have some mixed perceptions and opinions on it. And on one hand, it's incredible that Mexico Football Federation said we need to establish a women's professional league for our players. That is something to be celebrated. But there's all these other reasons as to why. Why did that happen? For a long time, there were players in Mexico's system that really maybe didn't have areas or clubs to play in. There's a big chunk of time during the maybe 2010 to really now kind of era of Mexican women's football where we saw players without club homes, essentially. Mexico Federation was one of these founding partners with NWSL. They allotted a player allocation system to NWSL alongside the United States and Canada, but along the way, they saw that their players weren't getting minutes, that they weren't seeing time on the pitch in NWSL. And some of the other conflicting or misinformed coaches at the time ultimately didn't rate Mexican players in the early stages of NWSL, and for those reasons likely did not see that playing time on the pitch. So it was a little bit of a mutual parting of ways where it's like, well, you don't value and rate our players. We're going to stop sending them to your league. But what happens next? We're talking about at the end of 2015. So in December of 2016, going into that season, they said no more Mexican players are going to be allocated to NWSL. What do we do to make sure that there is a place to develop Mexican players for this program? And that's kind of how Liga MX Femenil was born. They took a little while to kind of have this onboarding to Liga MX Femenil. They really didn't have the apertura until July 2017. But now here we are in 2024 watching some of these teams compete in a CONCACAF W Champions Cup to possibly represent the region at a future FIFA Women's Club World Cup.
Liga MX Femenil has undoubtedly gone I feel unappreciated more broadly. It definitely needs more coverage, more loud noise around it. And I think there have been moments where big player signings have kind of shattered a lot of predispositions or notions about the league itself. Chiefly, like Mia Fischel going to Liga MX Femenil was massive. How much do you think that changed sort of the perception of Liga MX, its competition with NWSL more broadly, Sandra?
It absolutely does. I mean, and this is part of Liga MX Femenil's history. They had to build kind of slowly. And I think in a world where we live in instant gratification, we want results right away. It's been a bit of a slow burn for them. They had to start out a certain way. They said, this is only going to be a Mexican league for Mexican players. We're going to have young Mexican players in this league. And then season 2, they integrated a couple of more older Mexican players. And then they didn't have foreign-born players until as recently as a couple of seasons ago. So now that we see Mia Fischels of the world selecting Liga MX Femenil or Jenny Hermoso, right, a World Cup player, everybody was talking about how Liga F is going to blow everyone away in competition. But Jenny Hermoso was playing her soccer in Liga MX Femenil when Spain won their World Cup. So there's a lot of steps that they've taken to make progress. And they're still technically a very young league in this globe of women's soccer. So there's still much further to go as well.
The future domestically for Mexico is very, very bright. But when we think internationally for Mexico, Sandra, the U20 Women's World Cup, Mexico fell to the U.S. in the round of 16, 3-2 ultimately. But looking ahead for this youth squad, any players stand out to you that we should keep an eye on?
Yeah, absolutely. Probably from that U20 squad, honestly. I think Montse Saldivar, Alice Soto, Renata Cota are players to really keep an eye on coming out of that U20 performance. Montse Saldivar kind of functions as a left back with Club America, but can play left winger as well. Alice Soto has absolutely a string pulling attacking mid in the middle third there, and Renata Cota as a goalkeeper for Club Leon started every single game for that team during the U20s. And I want to give a special shout out to Haley Gordon as well. She's a dual national that we see a lot of those types of players on the team, and she's representing University of Georgia.
Sandra, thanks. These are awesome. I like when we get young players that we can keep an eye out for and keep watching, especially as they continue to come up the ranks. Thanks, Sandra.
Thanks. Have a great show, y'all.
Don't go anywhere, guys. We are chatting UEFA Women's Champions League next. Hey everyone, welcome back to Attacking Third. We have the start of group stage. Match day 1 is on Tuesday and Wednesday of this week of the UEFA Women's Champions League. Lyon taking on Galatasaray. We have Chelsea against Real Madrid, Celtic against Twente. Some big games, City against Barcelona. Big ones coming up this weekend. Let's chat a little bit about them. Darian.
Well, you said it last. City versus Barcelona.
Let's go.
That is my
Let's
match
go.
to watch. Last time City played Barcelona at home, our very own Sam Mewis scored, and Janine Becky. They beat Barca 2-1.
That's so cool.
I don't want to do a prediction. I'm just really looking for. Please don't ask me to.
Are you feeling superstitious?
I'm just bad at them.
Okay.
I hate
a little
doing them.
stitious.
Yeah, just a little. But I think it's so fun to watch the different styles between the two leagues come together and play. City being such an attacking threat, they can really hit you in transition. They're a little bit more direct, a little bit more physical. Whereas the Spanish league, you have a lot of time on the ball. Barcelona's used to going against a very low block where they can just kind of bounce the ball around, move you. I think City's going to come out swinging because every time Barca has played a team that does that, it puts them on their heels and they have to completely readjust. But that's the game I'm really looking forward to start this off.
Yeah, that's a big one. There's a lot of good ones. Who are you watching?
It's going to be a fun Champions League. So I'm going with Roma against Wolfsburg. Roma will be hosting Wolfsburg at Stadio Tre Fontane, so they'll be home. That's a lovely advantage to have, especially with the Wolfsburg side who have slayed giants in the past, 2-time Champions League winners. They know the terrain. Roma coming off of a 9 straight unbeaten match streak. And Wolfsburg will be out for blood, I'm sure of it. They're skipping off of a 5-0 win over Leipzig in Bundesliga. So we're going to get an explosive match. Their last 2 meetings, one was a draw, one was a loss for Roma. Last season was a little bit more erratic for Roma, but I'm going Roma this go round.
Roma Wolfsburg, 12:45 on Tuesday. Guys, Wednesday, we have Bayern Munich against Arsenal. Bayern,
big one.
5-0 right now in league play. They are on a roll. Offensively, they can score in such a variety of ways, and Arsenal's looked shaky. This is a redemption match, I'm going to say, for Arsenal, coming off a 0-0 draw against Everton in league play. That's mine.
Oish.
That's what I'm watching. I'm excited. They're all good,
They're
though.
all good.
Good matches that we get this weekend. So tune in, everyone. We got NWSL, Champions League, Super League, all of it. And thank you, everyone, for listening and tuning in, because Attacking Third has been nominated in the Football Content Awards, the best in women's football. Use the QR code on the screen right now or find the link on our socials at Attacking Third and vote for Attacking Third. Thanks, everyone, so much for joining us. Today's episode brought to you by CarMax, the way car buying should be. We'll see you on Thursday.